Y'all, my heart is a little bit broken, but I'm gonna get over it. I just don't know how long it'll take.
Yeah. I've been down so it look like. 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 It look like. It look like.
What's the deal, pickles? All right, so I am back with another studio vlog, and this one is eventually going to be in collaboration with one of my closest friends and sisters and my quilting bestie. And I would say her handle for her channel, but I think she's still making a decision at the time of this recording. So when I edit this, I'll make sure that I have her information in the comment section. And I do want to put a call out to anybody else that's like us, that you are quilting when you can get it in, you enjoy it for your, your pastime and your peace, and you want us to just start, checking in on you and seeing how things are going. Y'all, I'm gonna be fiddling with this a little bit, okay? And so that we can just like add you into our little loop and check on you and see how things are going. I was telling her, we've just been having this conversation about doing some joint projects, because when we really was rolling in the crafting community, there were circles of people who just worked together, did projects together, collaborated. And I was like, you know what? I miss those days. Like, we used to have weekly videos and stuff like that. So with that said, she and I are coming together to work on a pattern. Now, this is a pattern that I saw originally done by, I can see the woman's face and I just cannot think of her name. But she always does really great tutorials, and many of those tutorials are based on quilt patterns that are from someone else. And so I can't think of it right now. If I think of it, if I remember, I'll try to find the video, because she did a tutorial. That's neither here nor there. But I was buying something else. Oh my gosh, it just keeps wanting to come and leaves. But I was buying a kit, and whenever I go to buy kits from their shop, I always like to go look at the list of patterns that they've done that I liked. And this was one. And it's called Baker's Lattice. Now, I don't think she'll mind. Tasha and I have decided that we are going to make this pattern at the same time, but do it in a way that shows our aesthetic. But what has happened, which I think is so funny, it's almost as if we swapped places, because I am always so scrappy and she is always the opposite. And for this particular one, I think we're gonna switch places, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm gonna grab my fabric. The reason why I think we're gonna switch is because originally when I did this, I was going to do it scrappy. And then when I was preparing to do this, oh my goodness, I might need to. Okay, so we've been talking about this, and we needed to pick our fabrics and we're going to talk about our fabrics. And I'm recording this way before we'll probably even get to recording that. And I was just working on another project, allowing my mind to say, okay, what fabrics do I want to use? Do I want to use a jelly roll? Do I want to do Scrappy from projects, since I got all this like pre-cut pieces? But when I looked at it, like, you really didn't want to do pre-cuts. You really want to do either, it is pre-cut friendly, and it's also, of course, you can do bolt fabric. So that didn't help. Then I had a jelly roll just over my shoulder. You can't see it, but it is right there. And I was like, maybe that one. And so I was thinking about that one, and that is the one in my mind. Since I already had it out, I was like, I don't have to dig it out. Bada boom, bada bing, perfect. Then I was working on something else, and my mind said, your Asian fabric. And I said, oh my gosh, like a 2-fabric quilt? Me? And so then I was like, I think so. So what had happened was, so I don't know if this is going to work, because this is the first time I'm actually pulling out the Asian fabric. So story behind the Asian fabric is I went to an estate sale because I was invited by one of my quilting teachers years ago. I went to this and their quilting guild was organizing an estate sale for someone that used to be a member of their guild. She passed away, and they were helping her husband to take care of like all the fabrics and all of this stuff. The estate sale was at their house, and let me tell y'all, this woman's quilting room was fire. It was fire. It was amazing. And it was as if they took the family room, or what used to be like a den, or the main family room on the first floor, and turned it into a whole quilting studio. And so the guild came in and organized everything, and it was set up like a store. It was so crazy. Like, I didn't know what to expect already, but that was just, I didn't know what to look at, because it was just like I was in over my head. So I walked around because I knew I wanted to at least buy something, because it was helping her family. And so I just didn't have any big expectations. All of the prices were amazing, blah, blah, blah. Then I stumbled upon this. And this is all some Asian fabrics. And now looking at this, I don't know if I'm even going to use this. Oh my gosh. It was $30, and you got all of this Asian fabric. I know that I've done an unboxing. I'm not unboxing, but a share, because that was back when I was doing videos regularly. So I know it's probably been shown on my channel before. But we're about to dig into this again, because I have to decide, because today's the day that I wanted to cut. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this might not work. Here's been the problem with this particular fabric. There are large motifs on this fabric that I do not want to cut up. So I'm starting to think this is not going to be the fabric. Or maybe it will. Y'all, I thought this was just 2 big pieces. This is why pulling it out is so helpful. So I'm going to share with you what it is, and I still have to decide, because now I'm uncertain. But this is a part of vlogging, right? So here's one fabric. See those people? What are they, geishas? If I'm wrong, I apologize. So there's one. I have 2 like sets of that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the measurements are, because there's no measurements. Now this is just a regular piece, that's good. This, oh, look at this. Oh my gosh. This, y'all, this is not gonna work. This, why is this so beautiful? Look. And it's a big old hunk of fabric. This, and this. So these other fabrics, I think I could. I mean, quite honestly, I think this would be so beautiful. If let's look at this pattern again. It's hard to see, but we just gotta imagine. So let's look at, see right here. Oh, here's the camera. There we go. So here is the quilt. And I'm imagining, like on this one, like that light, the gray could be something like this brown. And then the other pieces could be these, or it could be this. I think this would cut down pretty. This is so hard to choose. See, when it's like this, it's hard for me to make a decision because at the end of the day, when you cut it into strips and it's not a jelly roll, it's like then you're trying to balance not having repeats in the same place, and it's not enough variety to do that. And then the ones with the geishas, I don't want to break into that. So what I'm thinking is that I'm gonna have to do these big pieces like this, the way that I did my African quilts, which the main block was a big block versus it being a piece block. It was like a 10-inch. So cut these into bigger pieces so that you can still see it. I think I'm gonna just do something with these. I don't think I'm gonna do it with this because I don't trust that it will make it as beautiful as I want it to be. So this sucks. I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to try to force my mind into making a decision right now. The great thing is I have that jelly roll, so I can always just use the jelly roll and be on the hunt for something for this that has big pieces. Like I could even do like a big fat quarter quilt where it's almost like a whole cloth quilt with those. Okay, so let's see what the longest cut is on these. The longest cut, yeah, the longest cut is 10.5. I had another one, which were these African prints that I have, but they're 10 inches, so they're not long enough. And then I have a whole container of pre-cut African quilts. I mean, African fabrics that I cut myself. I just don't know if I have enough, like with the fabric. Y'all, this makes me feel sad. It makes me feel sad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the jelly roll. I'm gonna do the jelly roll. And then I'm going to have my eyes open for an alternative for this quilt. I was going to even, I looked at like the International Ladies quilt, but I just didn't want the repetition. But what I could do is cut some from these and still do a quilt top with that. And then the rest of it put in a quilt. One of the quilts that's coming to mind, it was a, I think it was a Missouri Star quilt. Yeah, there are some of my books that I like to keep over here that just gives me inspiration. And I feel like that's what I'm going to need. This is the one that I was thinking about. Let me show you. Something like this. So that it's almost like a whole cloth quilt. There was another one in this book. These are meant to be baby quilts so that they're that you can assemble them quickly. But I like how that one had this little modern approach to it. That's the only reason why I actually kept this book. Was for that one quilt right there. Oh. There was another one. Okay, I see I have my work cut out for me. This really sucks. It really sucks. Like in a good way. But I really wanted to use that. So if you're watching this and you are experiencing my pain, let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations for a quilt that will keep the large scale of the I wanted to keep it intact. Y'all, this really makes me sad. Oh my gosh. All right, I have to suck it up. I have to suck it up. So, I'm on the hunt. Now I know. I pulled out the fabrics. I totally forgot about this quilt. I think this is what I need to use for my scrappies. Because look how tiny they are. The little mosaics. Okay. All right. So I'm on the hunt for a big quilt design for my Asian fabric. And now I have to find something for this. So I'm going to go with my first idea. Use a jelly roll. And and hope I have enough background fabric. I believe I do. Yeah, so that's what this vlog is going to be about. You're going to see how I work this out. I'm still not sold on the jelly roll. My heart really wants to do this Asian fabric. And now I have to decide if I just want to go on a hunt and find what my heart is looking for, or if I want to do that to just complete it and then keep my eyes open and let the perfect pattern come to me, because I have plenty of fabric. I could also go through these fabrics and get the yardage, but quite honestly, I don't feel like I need to. I honestly believe like this feels like it's enough to be a backing. These could be cut down as long as I keep some of the geishas showing, and then this feels like this could be a background fabric, and then these would be the ones that get a lot of the cutting, and it's still some variety. Y'all, my heart is a little bit broken, but I'm gonna get over it. I just don't know how long it'll take. And I have this, but again, this isn't the right size. So I'm going to work it out. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to work this out. Because I know there's a solution in this studio somewhere. So with that said, I'm done with this clip. I hope to know by the time I record again what I'm going to do. And instead of pushing it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on an audiobook because I'm almost done with it. I'm going to put on an audiobook and finish cutting the last of these scraps that are on my table right now. And then hopefully between today and tomorrow, make a decision, because I want to start getting this cut down and getting it started. And just not be a big baby about this. All right, I'll see you guys in the next clip. I thought I would take a little bit longer to make a decision, but I was sitting here having a chat with a friend, and I started thinking about jelly rolls. So I thought I only had one jelly roll. I don't buy a lot of jelly rolls in general. Usually if I bought them in the past, they were either on sale or I had to buy one for a project at a retreat. That's just not a normal thing for me to purchase, except in some specific cases, which is usually whenever, if I'm ordering something else already at Missouri Star and they have their daily special, and their daily special is a jelly roll and it's something that I think I could eventually use, then I'll get it. And this all is going to come together. So I was talking with my friend and I was like, I feel like I had another jelly roll somewhere, because the one that I pointed to over my shoulder, I didn't want to use that one if I didn't have to, because I had two of them, which means I could make a larger project that would be cohesive and that would match, because I have two full jelly rolls. So I didn't want to use that if I didn't have to. And then I remembered that I had some leftover charm packs from a project that I worked on for my daughter years ago. If you remember her Winnie the Pooh quilt. And I had some left over and I put some strips with that because they would match to sort of round out those squares, because in that project, I believe I was not using a pattern. I was just sort of winging it. So I didn't know how many I needed and I had a lot of extra. So I went to that container and found that I had strips in there, and I went through and I counted them, and it's a full jelly roll. So I have the 40 strips that I needed for this pattern. So I'm gonna show a little bit. Y'all, this is one of those jelly rolls that has all those pinked edges like falling everywhere, which I hate. So here is the jelly roll. Y'all, I thought I was gonna go like with some tone to tone, but this is gonna be it is gonna look totally scrappy because of these colors. It's wild, a little bit funky, but I think this is gonna be really interesting and fun. So I have this. Now, the pattern calls for background fabric and the accent fabric to have a little pop color. Now, this is where I'm going to be doing True Dana, which is, I think I want to change some stuff. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I was thinking, okay, what if I just use another jelly roll that I had to be the background fabric? But then when you look really close, you see that there are big like setting triangles, which I think require 15.5-inch cuts, which is a lot bigger than, of course, a jelly roll. Because this is one time when Missouri Star had jelly rolls, I think they were on sale and I was ordering something else, and I have two of them. So what I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to tell y'all and then we'll see where I land as I actually start working, is I have the Kona white. I believe these are both the same. They're not. So I'm going to do the Kona first and hope that this is the only one that I need. But I do have this one as a backup. It's whites, but it does look a little bit different because it's not the same brand. And then what I think I want to do is all of the setting triangles that are on the outside, do it with a different color. I think I can do it. I think it'll be nice. It'll be different. So here's another picture of the quilt like up close. So that means all of this like intricate stuff would be the colored strips in white, and then those centers, this area and the outside area would be something different. The something different, I have two fabrics that I'm choosing from. Now, if I wanted to, I could go straight black, but I don't want to go straight black because I still want to sort of blend in with the white. So I have these two fabrics. I have this one and I have this one. I want to use this one. And then I need to have a pop color, and I don't know what that is yet. I'm going to decide once I start seeing the pieces come together, but I was thinking either, I'll show you. It depends on whether I want to brighten it up. I would do this, or if I want to calm it down, I'd use this. I believe, now I have another one that could calm it down a little bit. Well, that purple really wasn't calm, but it kind of, I think it'll look pretty with that gray. I have this purple too. So the last option that I have, I don't know if I want to use it, but I think it would go with these other colors really well, is this really pretty orange. See, I'm looking and I think this purple, I think either would go. So what I'm going to do is that accent color is going to be one of these. Y'all, okay, you're starting to see why I like kits, because having to pick all these colors drives me a little bit insane, because I can't see it until I see it, and you have to pick in advance, you know, when you're buying. And so having the quilts, the kits, knowing that the colors, I already like all of the fabrics, makes it so much easier. And when I do stuff like this, I don't always follow the directions. So with that said, I got my fabrics and I'm happy again because I get to do something different. So as of right this second, I believe my pop color, let's see. See, I don't think that looks as good together. I think that looks good together. And I think that looks good together. Okay, so one of these, I'm going to make the decision when I get to the end. Worst case scenario, I have to get white. But I'm not going to do that. I mean, this is a fun quilt, right? It's going to be what it is. But I believe, being that these jelly rolls are what they are, I almost feel like having something to calm it down would be better than trying to amp it up. And even though I like this, I have a feeling that this one is going to be the one, so that the actual design of the crisscrossing of those strips will be the focal point. But I'm going to leave it open. The great thing is I have plenty to choose from. So what I'm going to do is set these aside, knowing that these are my options. And I'm going to start cutting. Now, what makes all of this super cool is the fact that since I'm using the jelly rolls, the white jelly rolls, I really don't have to cut into the yardage yet. I can save that until after I get the rest of it going. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I have more time to let everything come together and get a better feel. I sort of liken this to if you were a person that, like, you have multiple names for your kids when you were pregnant and you didn't decide on the name until you saw the child. That's how this is. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put these aside, knowing that I'll make my final determination once I have more going on with the quilt. And now we are back in business. So I'll see you in the next clip. I have some cutting to do. See you in a bit. So I'm back in my studio this morning. It has been a few days because this is one of the busiest times of the year for me. But this morning, I want to start cutting on the fabric for the collaboration that I'm doing with Tasha. She did announce her channel name change, which is quintessentially me, I believe. And so, yeah. So I'm going to start with, I put everything in one container behind me. So it's that one. So I'm going to pull those out and start cutting. The great thing is everything is pretty standard and I already have a container for it. So what my plan to do is over today, every moment that I get, I'm going to come back in and just start subcutting. Now, one of the lessons that I learned from the last quilt that I did, like during doing this, going back to my studio vlogs, actually this has been so helpful, but we'll talk about that another time. One of the things that I found really helpful was going ahead and having everything prepped and marked. So I'm going to start the prepping process. Another thing that I showed you all before was having my like little post-it notes and everything ready. So I'm going to need to do some of these so I can prep and mark or pen or clip or whatever. The other thing that I have to keep in mind is as I'm cutting, I want to keep my mind open to the fact that I don't know which of the, I'm going to just call it like background fabrics, but I'm really talking about that outer rim. I don't know which one I want to use. I have the two that I have in mind. And I am, even though at the time of this recording, we are under a no buy, it's no buy January. So I'm gonna try my best not to buy anything. I do also have a bolt tonal that's in my storage in my bolts. So I have options, but I really hope that I get to use that gray. I think that gray would be fire. So the point of that is as I'm cutting, really paying attention to the colors, and I'll at the same time, even though I want all the colors and everything, but I don't want it flashy or loud, which is going to be kind of hard to straddle that line, being that this jelly roll was very colorful. And I think I really got it to do something for my daughter and just never did it because I have no idea why else I bought it. So it's neither here nor there. So I'm going to get started on that. I'll come back within the next day or so to let you know what my progress is. In between, I have been working on my scraps still, cleaning up my scraps for my potato chip quilt. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get to cutting because I only got a few minutes this morning. All right, peace. I am coming back after the end of a very successful day of prep. I'm about to close down, but I have cut all of the strips that are required and the pieces that are required for my jelly roll for this baker's lattice. So my next step is cutting the background fabric. And that is going to be what I'm doing with the jelly roll. And so I am not really good at how much fabric this is. Oh, it's 2.8, so almost 3 yards. It might be enough. So what I did, okay, so I'm going to use this for the background fabric for the middle part, and I'm aiming to put the other color on the surrounding parts. And what I did was I counted up, and I just remembered, I counted up how many blocks and what fabric pieces were included in the outside, and sort of just figured out what parts I need to set aside. Do I have this down to a T? Not quite yet, but I will, because now that I'm going to the background fabric, it's going to be pretty easy because the larger setting triangles are easy to spot. The parts that are going to be a little harder are the ones that are the strips that are the same as the internal sections, which is neither here nor there because you can't see it. If you have this pattern, you know. So, so what I'm going to do is not even worry about that right now. According to my cutting instructions, I know pretty much exactly. I'm saying exactly because I think I do, but anything can happen when you get in there. So with that said, I can almost on sight see where things sort of transition from that middle part to the outer part based on the cut size. And so that's what I'm using as my guiding point. And so, so I got quite a bit of cutting that I need to do from this. Then once I get done with this, then I am going to, honestly, I think I'm going to start sewing, or I'm going to just have to make an executive decision for the outer part because I haven't decided and I don't know. The other thing that came up in the last session when I was doing the colored strips was that in that jelly roll, there was several strips that were tonal and they were white or off-white. One I left in because it had a very bold, like black something on there. So I knew even if it was against this white, it would still stand out. The other one, I thought it would be really hard to distinguish unless you were up close. And because this is both a pattern and a secondary pattern, I was concerned about that. But when I got to the end, I had a few strips left over that were not needed, which was perfect. So I went back, pulled those they were like a light, here we go. They were like this, you know, and by the time you put it near this, they're really similar. So, I took a couple of the extra pieces, cut those up, pulled those out, put those in, and I still have one full strip left just in case. And I also, just in case like those white ones need to be pulled because I don't think it's a lot of them. And I also can pull from something else if need be. Just find another color that matches. But I think the other white ones will be okay. Trying to see if I can find it because I only think it was a one, and you know what, I can't find it, so it's whatever. So I'll be just keeping that in mind. I think that's it. I'm excited. I can honestly say that I was a little gun shy after that last one, y'all, because I see it was almost like having PTSD. I was so nervous. And then once I started rolling, it was rolling, and my organization helped a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Have been feeling very confident about what I've done so far. Oh, the other decision that I made is that there are accent fabrics. And the accent fabrics, instead of cutting from another fabric, what I did is went into my 2.5 inch squares container and pulled out squares from there. So I picked these. I don't know how I ended up with so much of this fabric. It's I think it's pretty. It's like a blue teal. It's like a weird, interesting color of blue. And so I have these. It matches that, and I think it would look really good against that gray. So it's neither here nor there. The great thing is I didn't have to cut. All I had to do was count and pull those out, and now they're in the container with the other pieces. So now all I have to do is make the final decision on that outer fabric, and I'm gonna wait until I cut the background fabric to make that decision. I think the final thing, and then I will move on to the next clip, is to keep myself organized. I told you guys before that I sat down and sort of wrote everything out. What I did is I did use a Post-it note to mark my cuts, and I checked off everything that I did. And then I also had my little A, B, C, D, elemental P that I made out of my Post-it notes. I had quite a few of them, but I didn't have them for the higher end of the alphabet. So I had that all organized. And the final thing that I needed to take notes on was that outer perimeter. And being that it was the huge setting triangles and just a handful of another block, which is the same block that's on the inside, I just counted those extra blocks that were a part of it and sort of roughly laid out how many cuts that I think that is. The great thing about me using another fabric is that if I want, I can cut the background fabric as is and not subtract for the outer pieces. And then anything that I overcut, I'll just subcut it down and put it in for my Scrappy quilts. So that I don't have to overthink that. And then I will move towards that outer ring last. So that's my plan. And if you're like, Dana, we have no idea because we're not working on the quilt, my bad. But the point of this is I'm sort of making a plan, but I'm also being extending grace to myself so that I can have some wiggle room. Even if it means that I'll need to subcut some other pieces later, I'll just put it in with my other stuff and call it a day. And so with that said, your girl is out on this clip, and I'm about to I'll show you my setup for now, and then I'm going to prep this so when I come back in over the next couple of days that I can start cutting this. I honestly think it's going to go really fast, and that I can hopefully get this quilt done within the top done within the next week or so. So yeah, that's what we got. So let me show you inside of my container. Here's a quick little viewing of my organization. I just have them all laid out. Here are the accents, and here are the other pieces beneath there. And they have the little, I don't know what you want to call it, designation. These are all the extra pieces and those lighter pieces that I told you about. And this is the last full strip that I have. And some of those I'm going to press open because I can make some 2.5-inch squares out of them, but I don't need them. And so now all of this is the way that it needs to be. And I keep this closed. And when I cut, I put the pieces on top so that they all stay together. So I'm in here and I'm back at it again. I've made some decisions, so I'm coming in real quick before my break is over. So I talked it over with Tasha, and she really wanted me to do the gold accent I decided I'm going with the gray background, or the outer edge gray. But I really liked the blue. So that means we were split. Now, when I thought about it, the biggest thing is I just need a contrast, and I need something to still pair well with the existing fabrics. So I went to my container with all of my 2.5-inch strips to try to see if, or 2.5-inch squares, to see if I had something that could serve the purpose here. Because listen, y'all, when you're doing stuff like this, I'm trying my best to use what I have. Okay, so with that said, I found this, and I have these from the baby quilt. So I'm going to use these instead. What I think I'm going to do is, again, with my special design, the outside I'm going to put with that dark gray, and with the dark gray I'm going to use these because I think it's going to stand out better. And then on the inside, when I have the white, I'm going to use these. They're similar but not the same, but I think it's going to work. So that is my plan. I am going to start cutting my background fabric today, and that means I should start sewing really soon. I'm really excited also about doing this with stuff that I already had. That makes it feel really good. I also have some extras. I don't even think I'm going to need all of these, and these I have more than enough, so I don't even have to cut. So I'm going to put these in there in place of the accent, and then I'm going to take it from there. So I'll see you in the next clip. I have officially cut all of the pieces, and I'm so excited. The only thing that I haven't cut is the binding. I believe I'm gonna stick, I don't know, I'm telling a story. I was about to say I'm gonna do the gray because I have a little bit more of that left, but I actually might do something different, like give it a little pop depending on what I decide to do for the back. So I'm not gonna decide on binding yet. I'm coming in real quick, and I hope you can see me because I can't see you. What I'm doing today is I am going to start using my board to put up some of the pieces. And this is where having all your stuff organized works like a charm. So what I'm doing is looking at the first block that I will be assembling, and this pattern is laid out perfectly. And all I have to do is pull the pieces according to their alphabetical designation. And while I organize them, even though I use my little handmade system, I can lay out the pieces according to what I need to create this block. So I'm gonna get to work. You'll watch me do a little bit, and then I'll keep going while I have this few minutes to get some work done. Let's keep going. I am rolling on getting these done. I am chain piecing them, and I'm going to press everything all at the end. I thought it would be interesting to show a little bit about how I set up to chain piece, being that none of these pieces are marked per se. I'm going to try to get this a little bit more light. I'm trying to keep it closed because it is chilly and I'm just a cold nature person. Okay. So what I do is a couple of things to keep everything on track. The first thing is I make up in my mind how I know that the orientation of the pieces are correct when I'm pushing them under the needle. And what I mean by that is if white is on the top of this one, it should be on all of the others. Now, in this case, because it's the background color background, I want the color block to stay up so that when I chain piece these, I can do the left side and then I can do the right side or vice versa. So with that said, once I set them up, I also sort of make sure I don't have the same background back to back. So visually I can tell if I get out of order. But in this case, what I will do is I put the extra backgrounds on one side and the ones I plan to piece on this side, and then I turn them upside down so that the color piece is facing me. And I do this on all of them. And I'm trying to do this through the viewfinder, so if I'm a little bit off, that's why. Okay, and so I do that for all of them. The last thing, and then when I started grabbing them, I actually started doing it on site. See, like in this one, see, these are wrong. And so you can actually begin to see. So here's the color up. And I'm going to do it once more, white, and then color up. And it's the back side that's up. Let's make sure this one is correct as well, because when I do this, I don't want to have to think. Okay, there we go. Now, the final thing that I do, let me go ahead and do this one real quick. Color up. Okay. The last thing that I do is I mark the first one with a straight pin. You can do something else, I'm sure, but I'll take a little pin and put it towards the middle of one of the blocks. I can't do it with one hand, so I'll probably put it like in the middle of this colored square. The reason why is because once I start feeding, I'll know that this is the top. I leave all of this in order, so I feed these through in order. I'll do the first two, then I do the second two, then I do the first two, then I do the second two, and so on and so forth. And then I keep them aligned together. And because I have the color block up, it will allow me to go ahead and just start feeding just all of these whites. And then I can separate them into sets. So it'll go the two for this one, two for this one, two for this one, two for this one, because it looks like this. And then I can do all one side, go through, then all the other side and go through. And so, yeah, if you guys want to see that, let me know. But this is easier to just show you this because, as you know, I got to keep it moving. So I'm going to go ahead and get it done. I only have these few left, and all of them will be done. And so I can press them and start laying out the next set of blocks. So I'm rolling. I'm coming in because I finished all of the first blocks. They're not perfect because I never know how to handle the peak edges. And after I started, I thought that I maybe should have turned them so that they could have been a little bit more secure. But for now, they're done. So what I'm about to do now is I'm almost at the point of calling it a night. But I'm going to go ahead and lay out the next blocks so that when I come back in, I got stuff everywhere. When I come back in, that I will be able to just start. And so I'm going to lay them out, and it shouldn't take me long because I think it's only, oh no, it's 16 blocks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay those out, and then I will be done for the night. The great thing about all of this is that will be, well, once I have these done, this will be kind of like the halfway point, but not really, because the next block is probably the most complicated of all of them. And then after that, it'll be a lot of, the other one will be easy. Okay, well, it'll be a little more complicated because I'm doing two different things. But the point is, I'm about to lay out the second block, and then I will be done for tonight. I'm not going to sew anything, but I do want to have them up on the board so when I come in, I can just get started. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get these set up. I already have the pieces laid out, so I'm going to make it do what it do. All right, so I have finished laying out that the second block. I'm still on the fence about the white fabric, but there was enough contrast there to go ahead and let it ride. This one, these should sew it pretty well, and so we'll see. But overall, they're all laid out and all prepped. I have them, as you saw, laid out on my smaller design boards. These are not small, but they're smaller. And then I can just come over and I just have them propped to the side of my sewing machine so I can just reach over without having to get up. And so I'll be ready to sew those. As of right now, and everything as far as laying out and progressing from one block to the other is going really smooth. Overall, I'm loving this one, and I think it's coming together pretty quickly. So we'll see. I know this one is probably, no, this one and the last block of the 4 are the pretty, like the easiest. Like you don't have to do anything. These are just, you just sew, you know, the pieces together and you're done. And the other one, it has more fiddling, almost like a log cabin, but not. So, so it's sort of like you gotta sew, turn, sew kind of thing. So I think that one's probably gonna be take the longest, and then the last block is fairly easy. Mainly just highlighting the accent block. And so with that said, I'm about to call it a night, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next clip.
Yeah.